Screen's dark. I wonder why. Well, hey, good morning. Sorry we're late. The dogs are outside and didn't want to come in. They were in the garage and didn't want to leave the garage because it's raining, and so they are too chicken shit to go outside. So we let them out in the garage to run around a little bit, and they didn't want to come back in the house. Like, go figure. It's like the closest thing to being outside. So, good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. My name is Jared. If you want to follow me, I'm probably not a very entertaining follow. Fortunately, I do all my good work here. Okay. Big, big thunderstorms. Feeling scared of making it. Hope you are too. Certainly feel none of the scared. Two objects that are the same shape. Good morning, good morning. So, YN, part of PTSD is sort of the absence of the extremes. Things like fear don't trigger me anymore. Not afraid. If I was afraid, I would go to church. It is thundering and lightning and thunderstorming real bad here in Indy with like 80-mile-an-hour winds. But there's a food drive this morning, or this afternoon, sorry. 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., Indianapolis, Indiana, 200 West Washington. If you feel so inclined, get down there. The easiest way to get there, I'm telling you, if you live in Indianapolis, especially if you're coming from outside the city, is to get on 70, like you're gonna come towards Indianapolis, and then get on 65 and go to Chicago. And right about the time you go to make that turn, get in the left lane and get off at Dr. Martin Luther King right there, like you're gonna go to the VA hospital. And you're going to turn left onto Dr. Martin Luther King going southbound, and then just keep going past the IUPUI, past the hospital, and then you'll come up on the Marriott and Victory Field, the minor league baseball stadium. If you turn left, that's a parking garage on your left, and it's around the corner from the protest site. Okay? Yeah. You ready to go get in some good trouble? Yeah. So, I want you, first of all, do not be afraid. There are far more people on your side than are against you. And one of the things that I want to remind everyone with peaceful protests is following the laws and understand that there are laws about protesting all over the United States. There's some places in the United States, hey Kimmer, boiler up. There's some places in the United States where you got to protest on the sidewalk. You want to make sure you're doing that. Okay? You make sure that you're following the rules and regulations. And we talk in good, getting in good trouble. It's not halting traffic. I want to make sure you know that. It's not standing in front of traffic. Okay? And you may think opposite of that. And there may be so many people there that you do hold up traffic. And I fucking hope there are. I hope there are so many people there that it holds up traffic. On the same flip of the coin, right? Follow the rules. I hope there's so many people that that is not an option, and we are forced to the road, to the streets, because I feel like that's where we are. We're at the part where, um, I was having a conversation with one of my really close friends, and they were really concerned, and they were like, "You need to come to me and let me make sure that I take care of you before you go to the protest." Scared of agitators, you know. Man, um, I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. Like, listen to the music. Listen to the music of the culture. Like we were told like don't start no shit, won't be no shit, right? Everybody talks about popping off. Don't blow an Achilles. Don't pop a hammy. There's a reason I tell everybody to get 8 hours of sleep a night. You probably need to take a nap. You gotta hydrate. You gotta eat right. You gotta exercise. Because you never know when it's your turn. And I'm not talking about getting abducted by the government and sent to a foreign country. I'm talking about it might be your day to protest. Today might be your day. And I just want you to not feel tired and have to sit down halfway through a walk, right? And when I went and did the Veterans March, shit, there were veterans falling out of a 1,200-meter march. You know what I'm saying? Like not even a like a half mile, or you know what I'm saying? It wasn't even that far. So I want you to take care of yourself so that you can go to these protests. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be a I'm going to drive by the protest situation. If it's still coming down like it is and storming like it is, because we've got like 80-mile-an-hour wind, and I've got like multiple warnings on my phone about being outside. So I'll be real honest with you, right? I don't feel like tornadic level winds are something you want to be protesting in. So this might be for me a go touch home plate and then run home kind of thing. It doesn't have to be for you, and the weather could clear up. So for the record, I'm also living in that world. So I'm in a fluid situation where I absolutely want to go protest and I'm behind this 100%, but I'm also cognizant of my scenario, the situation I'm in, and I'm not necessarily throwing myself to the wolves, right? And again, that's sort of metaphorically and more about weather for me. Um, there are people that are afraid and they're worried about uh, agitators or provocateurs. And I just urge you to ignore people who are dissenting against peaceful protest. Okay? Yeah, Cody, it lets me know exactly who people are. Yeah. Me too. When someone says thank God for Trump, I'm like, yeah, you are exactly right. Told me exactly who you are. Uh-huh. I have no further questions. I implore you, okay? I implore you to use Reddit, okay? Here is one of my subreddits that I use regularly. I post their links to our stuff all the time, guys. Is Protest Finder USA, and also R5051. And also they have a website. Miss Dysfunctional said instantly question their judgment and morals. Yeah. Or in my case, to get them as far the fuck away from me as possible. Holy shit. Um, I didn't know, by the way, I forgot. Nobody reminded me either. Don't we have a song? Every beginning of the show, instead of playing music and sitting behind a graphic while it plays annoyingly, and you can hear me in the background like doing what the fuck ever. I'll just put the link to the song in the chat, and if you want to listen to War, you could just go do that rather than be forced to listen to that song. And then, hey, I also want to point out this other subreddit that I found that I think is super interesting given that this is a news show. And it's called Suppressed News. And so we've talked about how, how the media empire is crumbling and how they're all losing billions of fucking dollars because they normalized Donald Trump. And I just want to point out that there's a repository for all the news that is being suppressed. Um, and it's on Reddit. There's a subreddit in the chat. If you ever wondered if you're sitting in the Reddit chat and you're ever wondering how come I can't just click on those links, is because TikTok's terrible and and YouTube's not much better. Full disclosure, but in the live chat, when I post the link, you can just click on that link. So that may interest some of you. You might want to go up here in my profile on TikTok and click on the link and follow me on YouTube so that you can go into the chat so that you could just click links when I post them instead of have to like copy paste or not get them, which is often what I find. Okay? Mm. Here's Japan's leader having not kind things to say about Donald J. Trump. What do the flags behind you mean? Hey, thank you for the decent question, Stargazer. They're just American flags. They're wood burnt, so and initially they were just the flags, right? And I had a buddy that got a 3D printer and a tree fell down in his yard, so he cut it up and he made the flags. And he took it to like a flea market and nobody would buy them, right? Because it was just a wood burned American flag and he was like trying to get like 50 bucks out of that, man. Right? It's like a treated piece of wood and I wood burn on it. Shit, wood burn American flag. And they take about an hour and a half to make. And I said, you probably got to pay a little money or use fair use, but you could probably put sports logos on there and sell them for more money. And he took my advice. And for years, he used to go to flea markets and sell these for like $150 to $350 each, depending on the complexity of the logo and stuff. He did have to pay some money for licensing eventually, but he had made so much money by then that it was a drop in the bucket. And he got away with fair use for years. Um, and he came to me eventually, and he was like, "I feel like I should give you some of these." And he was like, if it's okay with you, I'll just sell them to you for the mats I got in them. So I got those for, I think I paid like a few $100, but these were like a few $100 a piece when he was selling them. And I'm just a Colts fan, a Pacers fan, and I'm a Purdue grad. And then I'm from the United States, right? So yeah, it's like teams I root for slash where I'm from. Indiana is pretty thematic in those flags. So thanks. It's a good question. Please. Buddy of mine had a business idea. It wasn't going very well, and then I was like, "What about fair use?" And he did the shit, and it was good. Are you north or south side info? Okay, so for the record, I ain't claiming north or south side nothing. I live in fucking Lawrence. You get it? Like, I actually from Indianapolis. I ain't claiming north side, north fucking south side. Fuck all that shit. The north side's all the rich fucking assholes. The south side's white trash as fuck. Like, no, 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 no. I ain't claiming none of that shit. I lived in Marion County, in the fucking city. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I lived at 16th and Downey. I lived at 38th and Emerson. I lived at 71st and fucking Binford. Pretty much on the east side. Hey, yo, I'm south side. Yeah. So I actually went to like Mooresville High School, grew up in like Greenwood. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not all, Southside's not all trash. No, there's Center Grove. Yeah. That's where my dad said I should have went to high school while I was in high school 20 plus years ago. Yeah, good morning everybody. Bob, Debs, S&M, Aaron. Did I post the yeah, Japan's leader calling out Donald Trump saying they're being extorted by a delinquent? I love it. And also, since I just noticed there's like 50 people on TikTok this morning watching our show, make sure I advocate for a healthy lifestyle. Hey, get 8 hours of sleep a night. You probably need to take a nap. And then also, you need to hydrate and eat right and exercise. That's it. You can cut the tape. There's nothing, there's no other thing. Somebody said Japan owns most of our debt. Is that true? Okay. Yeah, I can't fathom for the life of me why you'd want to pick fight with your friends. Doesn't seem like it suits the United States. That seems more like it suits Russia. Meanwhile, China is supplying Russia with weapons and ammunition. So, or at least ammo. I might have overspoke on weapons. I don't know that Chinese manufactures pew pews. I don't know if that's their forte. But yeah, I hope you all have a great weekend, regardless of what kind of trouble you're getting into. Did you hear Mike Brown wants to take part of Illinois? Right? The fuck? The like whole counties from Illinois want to secede and become part of Indiana. Who would want to do that? I'm sure there's counties in Indiana that want to become part of Illinois. This is stupid. We live in the dumbest timeline. Why do we elect these fucking assholes? Jesus. And I never wanted to be in politics. It seems so beneath me. But now I'm like, these idiots are stupid and they're going to get us all killed. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Uh, this is what happens when you have unchecked power. Oh, by the way, hey, Donald Trump is a lying piece of shit and says that like gas prices are down. They're fucking not. Okay? They're fucking not. I paid like 50 to 75 cents more a gallon for gas and the price is going up. Stop lying. The same thing with eggs. Like egg prices ain't fucking going down. Stop lying. And I think we talked about this yesterday, but if we didn't, that's okay. So we've been sort of grieving. We've been sort of grieving over Yeah. Somebody said groceries are going up, nothing is coming down, but yet Donald Trump golfs every weekend, which adds millions of dollars, by the way. Oh, and that's actually not true. I literally just posted an article where like a nationwide study showed that gas prices are up. Somebody said, "How close are we to World War III in your opinion?" Jesus. So, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So if you just know that war is imminent and you're always in a state of conflict, there's no letting off the gas pedal, as it were. Uh, it seems pretty clear to me that Russia was able to infiltrate the United States and is on the path to destroy democracy without firing a shot. So if you asked, I think it's already on. I just think we're afraid to talk about it out loud. It's because Putin and the KGB and that whole regime have been threatening nuclear war my whole life. Um, as far back as I can ever remember, they've been threatening to nuke us. And it's had us in this state of readiness, pushing 35 years, I think, now. And I think that Russia is a lot weaker than they let on. And I think that there are opportunists outside of Donald Trump, outside of Vladimir Zelensky, outside of the United States and sort of its realm of influence that are gonna smell weakness and are gonna gather the means necessary to make quick work of Russia and its leadership. And it's going to leave the United States in a really awkward position where this could have been you. And instead, you enabled this and you fostered this. Again, I want to make sure we understand because I'm a veteran and there's a lot of people that are going to be like, hey, man, down for members, right? Who's you guys? And who are you? Never mind, I don't care. Morning, Dirty Bat. Unashamedly. That's crazy. Again, that's not what a nationwide article said that I just post, Mike. Your Google search does not equal an article with multiple sources, right? Multiple sources beats out a single Google search. Morning, Monica. Why said thank you for your answer. Yeah, I think on two fronts. I think Russia and Israel were able to infiltrate the U.S. Uh, government and sort of have it bent to their will without firing a shot. And there's a reason that as part of our exposure, they have gas prices. Don't they give gas? Don't they reduce gas prices for AAA members? Don't they have like a program though? So now we're having to go to extremes to argue. It seems pointless. Do you understand how I posted an article and read the headline and how now we're having like a full-blown conversation about it? And the AAA website is a single source. And what about Gas Buddy? Here's what AI said. Here's CNN. I mean, this is a right-leaning fucking news source. Again, goodbye. I have absolutely no qualms eliminating someone from my lives, my podcast, whose purpose is to argue over minutia. I would argue that's what that is, and splitting hairs is not a hobby. Playing the devil's advocate is not a skill. It's also not a fucking conversation. Have a day. But a lot of what is being suppressed, and I wanted to make sure I tell this. Obviously, it's crazy to see a white cis male say this in 2025. But what's happening in Gaza is a genocide on behalf of Israel upon the Palestinian people. Free fucking Palestine. Also, Russia wrongly invaded Ukraine, and we don't get to a ceasefire and peace talks, and we don't get to all that without you getting the fuck out of Ukraine. So, back them fucking tanks up, get them fucking drones and planes out of my airspace. We could talk about peace. Until then, you're gonna get a daily ass whooping as a reminder. Slava fucking Ukraine. If you have problems with that, that's a you thing. That's a fucking you thing. That ain't no me thing. Some of the best people I know, some of the best people I know have volunteered and gone and fought for Ukraine. So, NAFO, by the way, NAFO, if you didn't already know. Hate it. North Atlantic Fella Organization. If you didn't already know. Slava Ukraine, Free Palestine, if you didn't already know. Okay, you can join NAFO today. I am a NAFO member. I have been, in fact. I'm friends with the people that kind of founded that shit, or at least I was on Twitter back when I was a Twitter user. Oh shit! But here, NAFO, NAFO. What do we do, Jared? What do we do? Sorry, dropped my Steam Deck. Um, uh, what they do is they here. There's their origin story. Uh, came up off memes. Okay. But what do they do? What do they do? They take their money and they helped. For the record, do you guys remember when I think it was HIMARS was trending? NAFO was donating enough money to Ukraine that they were able to purchase that they were able to purchase. Uh, was it JDAMs? They were able to. I can't remember what they were able to purchase as like a small country that was trying to defend itself against like a much larger country with a much larger military. I think they were able to purchase HIMARS with the amount of money that NAFO raised and gave them. And they've been scolded for over arming the Ukrainians. And for the record, I feel like that's hilarious. So if you want like a really good place to spend your money, you know, they have great merch. They have a NAFO Terminator. Anyway, so I'm not getting paid by them or anything. That's just like friends. Those are just people that I know. Um, does it say there's 83 fucking people in here? Holy shit. Good morning. Again, make sure you get 8 hours of sleep a night, right? You probably need to take a nap, drink water, eat right, exercise, all that happy shit. Okay? Got a lot going on. But we did talk about that. Kilmar Garcia has been removed from CCOT. So not only, I mean, in my opinion, this week started off like absolute dog shit and has turned up not so fucking bad. It was pretty rough. I had a hard time sleeping first half of the week. But ask Bob; he'll tell you all about it. Um, that said, though, finding out that Kilmar Garcia is alive was a relief. Um, Seeing an elected official, Van Hollen from Maryland, go down there and talk with him and sit with him in front of him and look him in the eye and know that he's alive is a relief. And then I feel like we're getting a little more knowing that he's been removed from CCOT. He is being paid to be there by the Trump administration. I think it's far past time for Palantir to get the Tesla treatment. Again, Peter Thiel, Palantir, Peter Thiel funded JD Vance's production of the Project 2025. Okay? Yeah, S&M said big relief. Yes. We needed it. Okay? We needed some relief. I was finding myself very empathetic to like his family. He's just a good dude, you know. He's a union sheet metal worker. You know what I mean? Just a worker. And we profess to love those people, but do we actually? Do you actually love the union laborer? Like, do you actually feel okay? But yeah, I want to make sure we go back across that. If you're gonna check me, if you're gonna come at me, you better have receipts because I come with them. So somebody came in there and was arguing with me about gas prices, and I'm like, here's fucking CNN, which is licking Donald Trump's fucking taint, saying gas prices ain't fucking down. Okay. And I wanted again to point you to suppressed news, and a lot of what's being suppressed is what's going on in Ukraine and fucking Gaza. And you know why. You know why it's being suppressed. Both sides of the two-party system in the United States. Exactly, Ace. That was the point. It was like here's CNN who fucking loves Donald Trump saying gas prices ain't down, right? Every reason for them to go along with Donald Trump, right? And be like, oh, gas prices are down if you check the AAA website. And it's just like, well, what about all the other fucking available information? You know what I mean? What about all the had you considered anything else other than what, you know what I mean? So, make sure I want the interaction. I want the conversation. That's what the show's for, right? But come with receipts. Come with something I can. Oh shit, I'm wrong. I'm gonna have to question everything I'm doing. You know what I mean? And then point you to that suppressed news Reddit, and when you scroll it, you're like, oh, this is where all the gore goes. That comes out of things like Ukraine and fuck. It is not down in West Virginia. I don't know what that means. But yeah, if you just look like the Maldives, I don't know if we talked about about that. Did we talk about the Maldives banning Israelis? Whole ass. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We talked about that earlier in the week. Whole ass countries, and the Maldives is known for being like an escape, right? A sort of like a vacation from life, space to go. But when I see what they're suppressing, a lot of what they're suppressing and not letting you see And again, I'm just scrolling it and telling you what I see in terms of the whole. Like looking at a bunch of different things. What do I see over and over and over again? You know what I see? I see the IDF being really fucking cruel towards children and towards women. That's being suppressed. You're not seeing that in the fucking news. Remember, as I've said, cruelty is the fucking point. Being fucking horrible is the whole objective. And ultimately stoking violence is what they're trying to do. Their movement's dying. They're not, remember, this regime that is in power here in the United States is not nearly as powerful or popular as you think it is. They're mostly bluster. For the record, most of what's going on with this administration is talk. And understand something. Dude, Barack Obama deported like 3 million people and nobody batted a fucking eyeball. Donald Trump consistently is even fucking up deportation. And remember what happened here to Kilmar Abrego Garcia is far worse than fucking deportation. It's called rendition. It's also called fucking kidnapping. Okay? And fucking trafficking. And we have to fucking say that out loud. He was forcibly taken from his home and sent to die. That's not even fucking deportation. Deportation is a legal process. There's also a warning of a couple hundred people going to be rounded up by ICE, and there's like a ICE sting going on. I seen that this morning too. Here is a Republican, Karl Rove, who probably enabled this regime, on BBC saying this is going to end badly for, or no, on the Independent. Sorry, saying Americans are already really tired of Trump. Newsweek getting out ahead of Fox News and saying the bombshell report coming out about Kilmar Abrego Garcia is from a traffic stop. Okay. So his whole life's going to get torn apart. They're going to strip him down to the bolts. And I made a video today because RFK Jr. fucking triggered me and said that autistic people don't get like married and have jobs and children and so I don't know if I'm autistic. I've never like been given the green light for that or whatever. But I do have a lot of empathy. I do recognize patterns. And again there are extenuating circumstances. So before I say what I'm about to say, yes, I am aware that there are reasons, many reasons why you would do this to someone else. But I just want you to know that if you have what Empress said, that's not true. What's not true? If you're a parent, like if you chose to have children, you're their parent their whole life. Even in their death, you're still their parent. And I know that you spend a lot of your life as a parent. Yes, I know. I know, Empress. Um, you spend a lot of your life warning your children about risk. right? Don't touch that, it's hot, right? And I just wanted to point out that right about the time they jump into fire is not the time to let them see if they're flammable or not. And that I've had a disturbing frequency in conversations that include the parts I was unable to lean on my parents in my darkest hour because they decided it was in the worst part of my life. My parents said, sometimes you got to learn your lesson. And terrible parenting. And as I relayed in my video, again, I'm not a parent, and I know that any feedback I'm gonna get is like, you could never relate. Blah, 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 blah. My situation is special. Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like I'm not empathetic towards you excluding yourself from what I said, which is fact. And that is, if you choose to have a child, you are a parent for their whole life, even after they are gone. You're still the parent of that person. And right about at the time that they're about to step on a fucking rattlesnake is not the time for you to be like, and sometimes you just got to get bit by a rattler, and not at all grab him by the collar, pull him back from the fucking rattler, and just point it out and say, like, we talked about this before, but like, that's a fucking no-no. Okay? And it's a many things. It's many things. But it is the goal of capitalism to have every man, woman, and child alone, fending for themselves with no sense of community at all. That is the goal of capitalism, to have everybody with a car, everybody with a house, everybody with their own bills, everybody with their own money, everybody being self-sufficient. How many times have you heard that word in your fucking life? Be self-sufficient, right? It's bad parenting, for the record. It also kind of makes you an asshole. Okay? I'm not a parent, but if I were a parent and my kid had any I'm the Bonnie to your Clyde type shit. Like, oh, what's going on? They did what? Or, oh, are we about to beat somebody's ass? Oh, no, you just want to get out of that situation and need somewhere else to live? Come stay here. We'll plot and plan. Okay? You get what I'm saying? Instead of, when horrible shit is going on in someone's life, abandoning them in that moment is not good parenting. You're not helping. In fact, you're crushing your fucking kid forever. And they'll never look at you the same. And it's already happened. I can tell by the lack of comments that this is deeply touching some of you. Some of you are like, he's talking about me, or he's talking about my parents. But giving up on people in their darkest hour and not being there for them when they need you the most is not parenting. It's not good parenting. You're not building character. You're not making them more self-sufficient. They weren't due. That's not how any of that works. That's shitty parenting. That's a lack of education. And that is capitalism will kill fucking all of us because capitalism wants us at each other's throats, not helping each other, giving up on each other, and walking away from each other, and living independent lives from each other full of resentment. That is what communism wants because it has the highest cost to you. I'm not lying. It's way easier to have a conversation, have a community, live in a house where you share. Remember when you're a little kid, big house with lots and lots of room, with a big table with lots and lots of food. Remember that fucking song? Yeah, what happened to that shit? Yeah, that's right. And I'm not even talking about me. Again, as I've said many times, my mother and I might be diametrically opposed, but that woman was there for me my entire life when I needed her, and I am not talking about me. This is not me weeping to my audience talking about mommy and daddy issues. Nope. I'm pointing it out as a non parent. There's a reason I don't have kids is because I see how y'all treat your children, and if you treated my kids like that, I'd string you up by your tendons. You and I ain't the same. I'm wildly protective of my stuff, and that would include my children. Stupid. That's what I read that as. Thank you. Passionate, Kelly. Empathetic. If that's not where your brain is, you're wrong. Blocked. I have no interest in having any conversation with you. If you just heard what I said, if you just heard what I said, and you think, wow, he's an angry person, you're stupid. You're dumb. You're literally a stupid person. I have nothing further for you. I found out all the things that I needed to know in one word. Isn't that amazing? Isn't the English language awesome? How little I have to get from someone before I already know. Go read a lot more books. And yes, by the way, I'm happily married as well and have been. Okay? And I coach high school football, and I actually stay in contact with my kids after they graduate high school. Yes. Somebody said most people are selfish, bro. 1,000% son. 1,000%. I'm not that way at all. I have nothing, I want for nothing, and if I've got it and you need it, just fucking take it. Not even worth trying to be possessive over. That's how I feel about things. And I'm a completely different person. And I would be that way, especially if I had fucking seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if it was my fucking kid, I'd fucking shit. I'd walk on fire, make sure you didn't feel heat. What are you talking about? And again, as I've said, this isn't a rant because mommy did me wrong. That's nope. This is me noticing patterns of and being like, "Oh, the reason that you lack empathy, why, is because your parents lack empathy. How do we know this? Do you have a close relationship with them? No. Why don't you have a close relationship with your parents? Oh, I went through something fucking horrible, and when I really needed help, my parents were like, you're on your own. You just need to learn your lesson. That'll teach you. And again, I want to point out these were all situations where it wasn't really their fault. And again, a lot of people are just looking for a way out, right? So abdicating your responsibility as a fucking parent is common, right? It's common. Once you're an adult, they're like, "No, we're two people now, fam. You're a worker, I'm a worker. We're nothing more than that. We're just fucking numbers." Right? That's how parents like I'm not in charge of you. I'm not responsible for you. I'm responsible for you till you're the day you turn 18. And I was very close with lots of kids when I was in high school. I was very close with them until we could drive cars, and then I'm standing in your fucking kitchen listening to your parents talk, and then I'm like taking you somewhere, and then I'm asking you about that conversation on the way. Like, man, your parents are counting down the days until you turn 18, and they're like, "Yeah, I got to figure out what I'm going to do within 6 months of graduating high school or my parents are going to kick me the fuck out." This was when I was in high school. This was 25 fucking years ago. And the next time I'm around their parents, I'm like giving them the fucking stink eye. Like, y'all live in a 5,000 square foot house, drive brand new fucking cars, and you're gonna kick your fucking 18-year-old kid out 6 months after they graduate? You're kicking the prince out of the palace. Y'all live in a fucking mansion. What the fuck are you talking about? And forget, that repeats itself over and over and over again. The people, when I grew up, people where I'm from, they moved there because it was cheap. Land was cheap. And you could build like a big ass abode, right? So I grew up with all kinds of kids where you'd go to their house, and from a family of have more. For the record, my parents made really good money. So one of the things that I don't get to say, right, is that I grew up poor. No, I grew up with parents who grew up poor. You understand how that works? So my parents made really good money, but they acted like they were poor. My parents never bought high-end vehicles. I remember when I was a youngin' in the 80s, my parents had matching Honda Civics. When I was in like middle school, my parents had matching Ford Explorers. Now, I will also say this. When I was like in high school, my parents got matching Ford Expeditions. That lasted for less than a year, and my mom was like, I can't drive this thing. It's fucking massive. And she got like a Jeep or something. You know what I mean? So for the record, like those are all entry level to mid level vehicle. Those are like we lived in like entry level to mid level housing. Um, I would definitely call us like lower to middle class. Regardless of the level of income, the quality of life is the class level you live at, right? Most people, for the record, live in a low class lifestyle, right? Most people rent. There aren't more homeowners than there are renters, right? And understand that when I talk to homeowners, I more frequently am saying, "Oh, that sounds like a great deal." And oh, by the way, when I talk to renters, I'm frequently saying, "Holy shit, how are you able to live paying that much in fucking rent? That's insane. You need to get in a different living situation, or you just need to declare bankruptcy because you cannot sustain this in this economy. Hey, you need to fucking pay rent. You pay less than rent. You need to pay less than all your bills. You need to get out of fucking debt." Some moved out at 23 only because chose to. And I'm not saying coddle your fucking kids and have them suckling the teat in their 50s and shit like they're weirdos. You gotta let them let their little freak flag fly. But like I'm saying, right before they touch fire is not the time to be like, I guess they're about to find out that they're flammable. You know what I mean? And just let it fucking happen instead of grab them by the collar, pull them back from the fire, and say, we've talked about that actually a lot, and I think that you should avoid fire because it'll burn, and you don't want burns, okay? And again, I'm gonna keep saying it because motherfuckers are looking for an in. I ain't talking about me. Now, my dad stopped coming to sporting events when I was 15 or 16 years old because he said I wasn't working hard enough and he couldn't dare watch me to get hurt and shit. He was cheating on my mom. Stop fucking making excuses. Okay? And then also, I have had a falling out with my mom over this last election, right? Because I cannot surround myself with people who went into this scenario, this administration, and were like, yeah, I want more of that. What is this? Which of these things makes a ba sound? Yo, they're making me jump through a bunch of hoops, so they're gonna end my live. That's so dumb. We have like 85 people in here watching me. Kay Heron said I was smothering them when I didn't abandon them. It's so fucking crazy. My parents are very protective and giving when we was close to the family. My parents can barely afford paying the mortgage. They took care of us. I'm telling you, I'm still here. I love it about you. We all need to be that way. Yeah. But yeah, I have felt this great sense of abandonment out of my peers talking about their parents And again, all I could think is like, well, this is exactly what capitalism has to have, right? Capitalism has to have us divided up, and we're talking about family. We're talking about mother and child, father and child. Can't be in the same house. Can no longer see eye to eye. Have to be in a different abode. Got to have completely different lives because they don't want to be accountable. And one of the things that I know about my parents the most is that they tried their hardest for me not to find out who they really were. That's what my parents did. That's where I'll talk about my trauma as a kid is like my dad beat my ass and my mom looked the other way. My dad beat my ass and my mom bought me a new pair of shoes. That's what happened. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, I'd take an ass whooping to not walk through the soles of my shoes, Jared." And it's just like, "Would you take those bloody fucking shoes? Would you now?" And I ain't talking about getting disciplined. I'm talking about over the age of 16 getting in a fist fight in the front yard of my parents' house with my old man. Fist fight. Not he assaulted me. And fortunately for me and everyone else, my brother was premature, so he came out tiny and had asthma. So my dad never laid a finger on him. And my mom told my old man, "You ever put your fucking hands on me and I'll brain you." So my old man ain't ever touched my mom, 'cause that's fucking true. My ignorant ass old lady would have fucking blown his brains out if he put his hands on her. So I got it all. That's what really happened. And so I always think it's funny when people find out that I don't have a relationship with my parents and they don't know the things that you've just been told. And they say shit like, "Oh, hey, no matter what, you gotta have a relationship with those people." And again, just like my wife was trying to play devil's advocate this morning, and I was giving her shit for it. There are exceptions to the rule. They are still my parents. They will still be my parents until they die. But my whole drive and impetus is to outlive my oppressors. Just outlive them. So there's a reason that I come on here every day and I advocate for a healthy lifestyle. Is because violence has a cost. Who's that? Bad Dollar lived on your own since 16. I started working when I was 12. I had my own bank account before I could drive a car. I bought my first car cash. I paid all my own bills my whole life. I've leaned on my mom a little bit. I probably owe her like $20,000 total. I'm 40 and a homeowner now. You know what I'm saying? Morning, Albie. Yeah. CC, and there's a reason like I don't have a relationship with those people. Um, last time I saw my dad, he there's nothing he could fucking say, right? I'm a college graduate, a homeowner. I'm married happily. I love my wife. We don't have kids. I don't want kids. There are many reasons that I don't have or want kids. Keep in mind at the core of that is medical issue on my end, keeping me from having a seed that does anything. Okay. And then on top of all of that is a lifetime of experience where I've watched people go through it all and have weighed against it and have too much weighing against that to ever even consider, especially now in this regime. Cece said, I know this sounds silly, but I think being born of poor immigrants made my parents more giving and protective. No, I don't think that at all. I think that you got very lucky. I think that your parents being immigrants means they're just as likely as any other population group of being violently, physically abusive. I think it's in our nature. I think that you got parents that have empathy and that you need to center yourself on that and not think about it because they're poor immigrants. No, 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 no. I've met just as many poor immigrants that are angry, fucking terrible people. Keep in mind, this is a nation of immigrants. So when I say immigrants, I'm talking about we. I ain't talking about them. There ain't no them. Understand, I need to make sure I say this as a fucking white cis male that lives in the United States. Hey, if you look like me, you're like white, I'm pasty white, like I need to be outside more white. You ain't from here, dog. You're an immigrant. Your whole fucking family, immigrants. All of you. All the white people you know are immigrants. All the black people you know, also immigrants. All the Latino people you know, immigrants. Could be indigenous, though. There's a large part of the southwest part of the United States that also used to belong to fucking Mexico. So understand that almost fucking all of us, if you speak it in English, are an immigrant. Miss them both gone. My dad passed 39 years ago. Mom 14 years ago. Father was a terrible horse gambler, cheated on my mother, died at 44 years old, massive heart attack. Yeah. I'm lucky I never saw much any entertainment in gambling. One of the things that I felt myself tying my happiness to the outcome and it not being enough to be right and win. It was not fulfilling enough. And when I was wrong and I lost money, it was fucking debilitating. It had a far more powerful negative effect on me than it ever did for me positively. So fortunately for me, gambling didn't satiate me. It didn't satisfy me. Now, I will also say, because now there's gonna be people like, didn't you play Magic competitively? Didn't you play poker competitively? Hold on. That's a card game. That's a card game. That is a card game. And discretion and decision making and math and things like those are my wheelhouse. So poker, Magic Gathering, those are things I'm naturally drawn toward. Okay? I'm not speaking about those things. Okay? But I can't really speak to S&M's situation because I don't know much more than the information she gave. Emperor said you're teaching, Jared. I'm teaching class they cannot teach in school. That said, there is a massive nationwide protest today. Okay, I wanted to wait a good hour into the show, spend a good amount of time talking about this. People have been reaching out, expressing all levels of concern. Okay, I'll be frank with you. I'm not a motivational speaker. That's not in my fucking wheelhouse, but I'm working on it. And the only thing I tell you in regards to today is there ain't enough detractors. They can't arrest or kill all of us. Does that mean I don't know how much more you needed to motivate you? They don't. We are not outnumbered by detractors. I'm not talking about farm equipment. You should not anticipate a heavy counter protest. It should absolutely throw you when you see someone like stop what you're doing. And you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And they're just like, so I work at Tesla. And it's like, oh, sure thing, Myrtle. And I have a client, by the way, who works at Tesla. You can hear them being ashamed. Remember, I interviewed at Tesla. I interviewed for a job at Tesla. Your boy at one point, Wonder Kid, wanted to work there before Elon Musk got involved. Actually, it was right as Elon Musk got involved. Before he sold the fuck out. And I know what it is. I know what it is. It's because if you're not an empathetic person, if you're a shallow person and you just have a bunch of money, you can't buy your way into democratic politics. Democrats don't work that way. People call it the establishment, but Democrats want like a meritocracy amongst their party. They want clear hierarchy. They want a clear leader, which are good qualities to have, and it makes them a good adversary. I just think that the Democratic Party does not have good opponents. They have a bad opponent. And it's dragging down the Democratic Party. And it's dragging us down as a people. The Republican Party is dragging us down as a fucking people. It's dying. Think about look at all of the signs that you would call like natural signs of something dying. It's slowing down. It doesn't have nearly the power it appeared to. It's fracturing. There's infighting. You knew they were gonna fuck each other over. That's like their whole MO. Okay. Albie said, "What is this protest going to accomplish? Nothing else is." That's a unique way to say that you haven't read a lot of history books about the power of protest, boycott, and strike. The whole point of protest is to draw attention to your cause. And so what it has done is as you've seen the protests growing, you've seen movements growing, millions of dollars being raised, people running for office, people showing up and getting opportunities to publicly speak is a great reason to go to a protest. You never know when somebody's going to hand you the mic and say, "Why are you here?" Right? And then you never know what that person's going to say that becomes a monumental moment in that movement that changes forever. The spark that lights the fire of revolution could just be words. And it doesn't have to be protest. It could just be talking about protesting and saying the best thing, the most fulfilling thing you'll ever do in your whole fucking life is say, I have a quarrel. I'm going to protest. I'm going to go say enough is enough fucking enough, dog. Is like the most freeing fucking thing in the world because you're no longer sitting on your fucking hands. You're no longer watching the world happen in front of you doing absolutely goddamn nothing about it. Once you decide I'm a protester and you go, now it feels like where you're just supposed to be. Now it just feels like what I'm supposed to do. Now it's just habit. So why am I protesting? Well, it's easy for me. This regime is anti-DEI. And again, DEI mostly represents white women and veterans. It mostly helps those people. And as a white person, why wouldn't you be pro DEI if it fucking benefits you mostly, you fucking moron? And then it helps veterans, and I am one. So being completely selfish and sounding racist too. When I'm like, if it benefits white people, why, as a white person, am I opposed? That doesn't pass. And being like anti me? Anti myself? That seems fucking weird. It seems more likely that a white person would see something that benefits white people and be a pro that. That helps my people. The fuck? So do you see how it's people have contorted themselves in order to be able to fit in this two-party regime, right? This two-party system we live in, where one of these is a cult. A full-blown fucking cult has cult leadership, cult tendencies, cult recruiting, a cult message. And again, as I've said many times, I think this is the death of the Republican Party. I think that the MAGA crowd fractures the Republican Party. It splinters and fucking dies. And the problem with that is not that Democrats win every fucking election forever. That's not the fucking problem. It's the mono-party system is the problem. You're welcome, Albie. I try. Okay? This two-party system wants you to believe that the only choices you have are fascism and fascism light. And I'm saying that there are way more of us than there are of them, to the tune of millions and millions and millions and millions. It's not even actually close. Again, I would say, if you dared explain to other people exactly what socialism is, they're all about it. Especially when you explain that it's going to cost you thousands of dollars less to live per month to accept socialism into your life. It's going to put money into your pocket. What if you didn't have to pay rent? What if you didn't have to pay taxes? What if there was no such thing as interest? What if you didn't know what student loans were? What if gas prices more aligned with reality, which for the record means they would be super fucking low because gas is basically nothing at this point. And oh, by the way, there is a boom, a worldwide boom on electric vehicles. So I know here in the United States, we have a clown at the top saying, we're going to bring manufacturing back, and we're a gas country. We don't need them EVs and them windmills and them solar panels. Okay, all that stuff is coming back. All of those things are growing. All those sectors are growing. Yes, S&M, the U.S. healthcare system is failing. And I've been saying that for a while. The U.S. healthcare system is failing, and a whole bunch of people are going to muerte. I have settled with this already. Have you settled with that yet? Have you settled with that? You are not speaking out. You are not shouting from the rooftops because this does not benefit me. I am a veteran. I get VA health care. I'm not talking about my health care. I'm talking about your health care. You non-rate, you people that did not serve your country and don't get VA health care. Your health care is fucking failing. They're failing you. And that's because of capitalism. That's because a for-profit healthcare system always fails. Capitalism always fails. It can build big buildings, but it can't fill them. That's the whole fucking point. They could build fucking skyscrapers, right? We built skyscrapers. They're empty. Just so you know. They're empty. People can't even afford to be in them. So we built these monuments to capitalism, and they're empty. They're not the pyramids. And we keep acting like we're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. We're not going to be fine. Everything is not fine. So when you ask me, like, why are you protesting? And it's like, why the fuck aren't you protesting? It doesn't impact me directly. That's how you know I have empathy. Because I'm talking about something that has absolutely no impact on my life directly anymore. I won't let it. I don't work in that industry anymore. And I don't have a healthcare plan. So when you ask me, why do you protest? It's easy for me to say, well, the U.S. healthcare system is failing and millions of people are at risk of death. The current regime wants to eliminate things, again, that have no impact on me. Food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid. They're trying to fucking touch your Social Security. All you old fucks that are retirement age or about to retire or have recently retired or have been retired, hey, why aren't you protesting? He's trying to take your fucking Social Security and SNAP and Medicare and Medicaid benefits. Right? Again, none of that shit actually affects me directly. Those are social safety nets that largely help other fucking people. But lost in that is veterans' health care. So it does affect me. Because if they can destroy the U.S. healthcare system with the goal, they're actively trying to muerte you. They're not trying to keep you alive. Think about this. When I go to the VA to get healthcare, I give blood. They study my blood. I then get to go see a doctor about an hour later after they've studied my blood work. And then they come and sit down with me. A nurse takes all your vitals, like your height, weight, your blood pressure, all that shit. They go study that. About 40 minutes later, a doctor comes in, sits down with all the math done, knowing anything, asking me what's going on in my life. And then he says, you don't need anything. You might need to lose a little weight. Now, is that what happens when you go to a doctor's appointment? Nope. You don't go get a physical and give a blood draw. You don't lie. Don't lie. They don't take full vitals off you. When you go to a doctor's appointment, they don't take vitals off you. They might get your height, weight, they might do your blood pressure. They don't get a full read on you. And then they don't go sit for a while and leave you sit there and then come back and tell you, after I did a deep study on your blood work and your metrics here, I just want to ask, is everything okay? Is there anything I need to know? Anything going on? You got any pains, ills? Anything I need to know? Okay, you don't need anything. Yeah, your blood work came back clean, your numbers are good. No, you don't. No, you don't, dude. There's too many people that are like, yeah, they do. No, they don't. Nope. They are recommending a fucking treatment plan 100% of the time and trying to get you on medication. Don't fuck with me. My wife works at an OBGYN where they literally try to stuff these fucking ladies full of dope. The fuck are you talking about? They'll painkiller the fuck out of you. They'll fucking mood regulate the fuck out of you. Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. In a for-profit healthcare system where my wife works at an OBGYN, do not sit and tell me that the fucking U.S. healthcare system is treating patients with love and care and empathy, and they're not fucking overprescribing, and they're not fucking sticking people in treatment plans they don't need to fucking be in, and they'll hear somebody say, what pain level are you at? 0 out of 10, and they'll get some shit anyway. Tell me I'm fucking lying. How many friends I gotta lose because of this fucking for-profit healthcare system before you admit that your anecdotal experience does not speak to the overarching experience that people are having? Just because you can sit in a fucking physical and you can walk all over a doctor and they'll just let you do whatever fuck you want and then you leave does not mean that's how that goes for everyone else. Many people go into a doctor's office with nothing fucking wrong with them and years later develop things wrong with them because the whole time they were under a treatment plan for something that was a for-profit healthcare system wants you to develop cancers, wants you to be ill, and wants you to fucking stay ill. And I'm not talking about the cool kind that makes you come back and watch my show. I'm talking about like the fucking can hardly fucking move shit. And I know that you don't want to hear that. I know that you want to hear like, nuh-uh, they got to take the Hippocratic Oath. And they're doing the same thing when I go for my annual. Wait, I don't go to an annual. I can't afford that. Be realistic. You don't get an annual physical. That's not how your treatment plan works. That's not how your fucking care works. See? S&M. My cholesterol was 1 point high, and my doctor tried to put me on Crestor. Did you hear what I said? When I go get a physical at the VA, they take my blood. They have my blood for an hour before I'm ever scheduled for a doctor's appointment. And then I go check in for my doctor's appointment, and they do a full run-up. Everything. Height, weight, blood pressure, looking in your ears, checking your eyes, doing it all. A full physical. Mental health checks, all of it. That's before I see a doctor, and then the doctor comes in, sits down, says, numbers look great, blood looks great, what's going on? XYZ. Okay. X for X, Y for Y, Z for Z. You good? Yes. Okay. I'll see you in a year. Now, are you getting that treatment when you go to the doctor? No, the fuck you are not. No, you're not. Here's what I'll tell you. Most of the time, you're not seeing the doctor. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Most of the time when you go to the doctor, you're not actually seeing a fucking MD. Congratulations, you're an idiot. That's an MA and has been the whole time. You've just been calling her doc. Okay? That MA makes about a fifth of what that fucking doctor does and has about a fifth of training. You're fucking welcome. That person's job is to develop a fucking treatment plan for you based on their conversation with you. And if you think they're going to do all that fucking work, which they don't do, you don't get a scheduled annual physical visit with your doctor with blood work and a full run-up. You do not. You don't. Most of the people that I talk to either do not go to the doctor unless it's a goddamn emergency. Tell me if that's you. Most of the people I talk to aren't going to the doctor because of what it would cost to go to the doctor. Again, I don't have that problem. So I can protest because I'm not okay with your health care. Because it has an effect on you. How did I get my live access removed? So anyway, we got banned from TikTok. Huh. Huh. I guess there are weirder things that could happen. We were just talking about healthcare. I Well, you could tell we were rubbing some people the wrong way, huh? I mean, think of it like this, kids. At least you don't work for TikTok and aren't actively suppressing someone telling people like why you should protest. why it's important. Yeah. So, and no, yeah. The first time I went to protest, it was I wouldn't say poorly attended, but it was irritatingly attended. Um, TikToker jerks. I can't imagine that sticks. We weren't talking about some. We weren't talking about someone. What is a nightmare? A nightmare is you. You know what I mean? Appeal approved. See, I can't imagine it sticks. Um, but we're like an hour and a half in, so we'll just get in there, wait till the crowd gets real big, and go. Okay. Uh, S&M. So remember that I have an agent, right? I am very early got picked up by an agency, so I have representation, and also part of getting agency representation is having to read through the guidelines for TikTok, and you got to know them. You got to know what you can and can't say. So I already know, like, as the words are coming out of my mouth, I know I'm good. But you can mass report and mass complain, and it'll trigger the AI into banning me. But the second level at TikTok actually has to listen to whatever you select as like the bannable content. And a human being had to listen to me talk about their shitty healthcare. So, again, I just want to point out. Yeah, just to make sure we got back in here. And I notice people are joining like crazy, and it still says there's nobody in here. See? So I know because of my content, the quality of my content, I'm not a ban isn't gonna stick. A ban stuck, if you recall, long time ago. I had people stealing the premise of my work, and then when I named names and confronted them about it, because I'll be confrontational about theft. Um, they had their much larger audiences mass report me, and I did get banned. And it did stick for a week. So we have been banned, uh, and it did stick. But we learned, don't name names. You're not trying to hold people accountable that are on this platform. Uh, and if you need to deal with it legally, you need to do that offline. You know, you definitely don't talk about that publicly, right? Yeah, I think that's what I learned from that situation was, um, if you're gonna do it, do it. Don't talk about it. And too many people sit around and talk about it. And for the record, I come away with a clear conscience because multiple people have sent me a recording of that person talking, and not about me. Hold on, about trying to get other people to be violent over this administration. So I just want to make sure we point that out. Corey said, "Do you know what the significance is today?" What is the historical significance of April 19th? Today, the Revolutionary War started. Battle of Lexington and Concord, opening shots of the American Revolutionary War. Boston Marathon was first held on this date. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, a valiant but ultimately unsuccessful resistance against Nazi forces begins. In 1977, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that spanking was okay. The Waco siege, a 51-day standoff between the FBI and the Branch Davidians, concluding with a fire that resulted in the death of many people. In 1995 was the Oklahoma City bombing. And then in 2005, Pope Benedict was elected. So you asked what was the significance of April 19th? Jesus Christ, exactly. He said Branch Davidians are now the Democrats. And you understand that a lot of those people perished in a fire and are somehow now. So now you're saying they're not flammable. That seems ridiculous. Anyway. I had to block Jesus Christ. Anyway. We've been here an hour and a half. Okay. Talked about a lot of the news stories of the day. Talked at length about protests, why it's important, what the message is, what the purpose is. And first of all, like if anything is important to you out of all this, right? They're using the Gestapo to kidnap American citizens and traffic them to foreign countries that will hold them if you pay them. Well, hold on, Cece. I blocked Jesus Christ because he said that the Branch Davidians are now the Democrats. Okay? And I was just like, son of a bitch, Jesus. Anyway, so I'm going to get out of here. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you're going out and you're protesting today, be proud of yourself. Have fun. Get there, get out, right? Go touch home base and go. Okay? You said you block Jesus. Now you don't have to worry about what you say. True. But yeah, but I want that to be my message. Have a great day. Yeah, I know, Cece. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Remember, humor is what's going to defeat these people. Poking fun at them is exactly what we want to do. Insult the comic dog. You want to use these people for the doormat of humor that they are. You know what I mean? You should be able to make several jokes about Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example. That should just be in your wheelhouse, right? You should just generally have like a healthy disdain for what's going on here. And it should just kind of roll off the top of the dome. That should just kind of be what it is. And that should kind of be your attitude about this. Like, you being angry and violent is not the fucking solution. So, if that's not the fucking solution, don't do that shit. Do the shit that actually works. Make fun of their ass. Okay? Have a great rest of your day.